Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishnastaya Bhutale Shivadi Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Sase Deve Gauravan Chane Shesha Shindavadi Pashasadi Satayani. This evening we're focusing on a verse from Madhya Lila, chapter 3, Lord Chaitanya at the house of Advaita Acharya. Lord Chaitanya has just taken sannyas. What happened upon Lord Chaitanya's taking sannyas in Katwa? He began to dance in ecstasy. And while dancing, he threw away his danda and his kamandalu, his water pot. There's significance to that. He's showing that he was not absorbed in the formalities of sannyas at all. As Srila Prabhupada explains in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the sannyas ashram can be an invitation for formality, in that one gets caught up in the externals and forgets or minimizes the real focus of the sannyas ashram, which is absorption in Krishna's service. So Lord Chaitanya, upon taking sannyas, received the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. One who maintains the consciousness of others, of all others. That is the significance of Lord Chaitanya's name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. His throwing away of his danda and his water pot in ecstasy is showing that the prime purpose of sannyas ashram, and actually any ashram, is engaging in devotional service of Krishna. As Lord Chaitanya began to dance in ecstasy, his sannyas guru, Keshava Bharati, also began to dance. And he also became oblivious. He tossed away the symbols of his sannyas, his danda, his water pot, his upper cloth. They both embraced and danced and danced. In this way, the whole night passed, simply absorbed in Krishna Kirtan. Lord Chaitanya is showing that the real activity of sannyas is chanting and dancing and Hari Kirtan, Hari Katha. You see, according to strict impersonalist sannyas standards, singing, dancing, and playing musical instruments is not allowed. But Lord Chaitanya is establishing that the singing and dancing and playing musical instruments for the pleasure of Krishna is in another category. He's showing that yes, we deny ourselves of mundane music, but we attach ourselves to the divine music of Kirtan. So in that way, by Lord Chaitanya's taking sannyas, he's demonstrating that our real position is attachment to Krishna's service. We're not absorbed in the state of consciousness in which we simply detest the material world. That's impersonalism. The impersonalist sannyasis are like that. The world is false. It's an illusion. That's it. And accepting that the world is false and an illusion, you should just merge into Brahman, become one with Brahman. In other words, never acknowledge your subordinate position to the Supreme. And from the Vaishnava point of view, this is abominable, to never acknowledge your position of subordination to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya is showing that the real purpose of human life is to absorb yourself in Krishna's service. Because everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the enjoyer of everything. So what have we to renounce? We don't own anything. This is what Lord Chaitanya is showing in his ecstasy after taking sannyas. It's like, for example, if you're in New York City or some city that's a great financial capital like London, and you walk by the headquarters for American Express or Barclays Bank or something like that, and you say, "Hey, I hereby renounce American Express. I hereby renounce Barclays Bank." Everyone will look at you like you're crazy. You don't own this. So similarly, that's the Vaishnava attitude toward material renunciation. We don't own anything. Everything belongs to Krishna. So actually the Vaishnava, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is demonstrating, is neither the enjoyer nor the renouncer. Everything belongs to Krishna. What have we to renounce? We simply try to use everything in Krishna's service for Krishna's satisfaction. So the whole night after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas was spent chanting and dancing. And then the next morning, Lord Chaitanya announced, "I want to go to the forest to find Krishna. Particularly, I want to go to Vrindavan." So Keshava Bharati said, "Please, please, I want to go with you." He's Lord Chaitanya's sannyas guru. So Lord Chaitanya agreed. Keshava Bharati walked in front, Lord Chaitanya in the middle, surrounded by Nityananda, Mukunda, and from the rear came Lord Chaitanya's assistant, Govinda. What happened next? Lord Chaitanya became lost in ecstasy. He did not know whether it's day or night. He didn't know where he was wandering. How could this happen to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, Radha Krishna combined. How could he not know where he is? How could he not know the difference between day and night? Does that mean that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is lacking in some kind of way? What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjana bhavishyani chabhutani mam tu veda nakashchana. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything, past, present, and future. I know all living beings, but no one knows me. That is a crucial difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities. Those with material bodies cannot properly understand their past or their future. That's a symptom of conditioned life. That's a symptom of having a material body, that you can't properly understand your past, can't remember all your past lives, you can't clearly see what your future will be. We don't see all the reactions to our actions. And that means you actually don't understand your present, because the present moment is composed of the past. And it's influencing the present. It's influencing the future. So that means without a clear idea of the past, Without a clear idea of the future, we don't really understand the present. But in a civilization that's based on illusion, there's so much pressure. Simply squeeze out from the present moment all you can. Make as much money as you can in the present moment. Enjoy your senses as much as you can in the present moment. And then what happens, happens. We reject that kind of so-called civilization. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says, I understand everything. I know everything, past, present, and future. I know all living entities, but no one knows me. So how is it then that that same Supreme Personality of Godhead is lost in the western part of Bengal? Radha Desh. Not Radha Desh, as we explained yesterday, but Radha Desh. The part of Bengal where the Ganges doesn't flow. Can't tell the difference between day and night. Just wandering here and there in ecstasy. What's happening? This is Krishna as the greatest devotee, showing us that higher than being all-knowing is being all-love. Lord Chaitanya is showing the supremacy of love. He's lost in the ecstasy of feeling separation from Krishna. He's taken up the position of Krishna's dearmost devotee, Srimati Radharani. And in that topmost ecstasy, he doesn't know where he is, even though he's the all-knowing Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like in Vrindavan, the topmost devotees are in Vrindavan, but they don't know that Krishna is God. They're showing you that higher than knowing is pure love. Mother Yashoda doesn't think her son is God. She thinks, he's hungry, I have to feed him. He's been playing all day in the forest, he needs a bath. Krishna doesn't want the residents of Vrindavan to know he's God, because that would spoil the exchange of rasa. So here you have Krishna in the position of the greatest devotee, Srimati Radharani. And in that role, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't know what is day, what is night, where he is. So please think about the significance of Lord Chaitanya's wandering in the Radha Desh. For days he wandered, not knowing where he's going. So how does that Leela, how does that pastime fit in with your conceptions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Yes, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the position of the devotee. But still, does that mean his knowledge has become limited? Does that mean there's something he doesn't know? Just like we heard His Holiness Bhakti True Maharaj explain how Krishna as Krishna can't understand the love of his dearmost devotee, can't understand what it's like to be in her position, can't understand the sweetness that she's tasting. So you might say, well, there's something that Krishna can't do. Aha! There's a limitation. But that same Krishna who wonders, what is it like to be my own devotee? What is it that my devotees are experiencing? What is it that they're tasting? What is it like to be in their position? That same Krishna comes as his own devotee. Now, did you ever meditate on the reality that the devotee enjoys more than Krishna, by the devotee being in the position of being enjoyed by Krishna. So then, does that mean Krishna is no longer the supreme enjoyer? Because as Chaitanya Charitamrita states, all the incarnations of Godhead would rather give up their status of being incarnations and come as devotees. So just see, our attachment to material existence is one of being the controller and enjoyer. Imitation controllers, imitation enjoyers. But all the avatars, the expansions of Godhead, would rather give up their status as incarnations, as expansions, and become devotees. That's the mystery of Chaitanya Leela. Because the devotees, in their role of being enjoyed by Krishna, taste a higher pleasure than Krishna. So how does Krishna solve this puzzle? He becomes a devotee, and in that way he's still the supreme enjoyer, by his ability to accept the role of a devotee, because the devotees enjoy more. The worshipers enjoy more than the worshipable. So Krishna maintains his status as a supreme enjoyer by his ability to become a devotee. Meanwhile, those in illusion want to become God. But God wants to become a devotee. So how is all this solved? This is all solved by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So what do you have to say about that? On the one hand, it seems the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, is limited. He's lost in Radhadesh, Western Bengal, trying to find his way to Vrindavan. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, it's explained that he wanted to go to a place, apparently he wanted to go to a place where Mayavadi sannyasis go, Vikreshwara, Shaivite pilgrimage place. So externally, it seemed he wanted to go there. But on his way there, he suddenly changed course, letting everyone know the real purpose of sannyas is attachment to Krishna. The protocol or the normal tradition after taking sannyas was to visit this particular holy spot, Vikreshwara, holy spot of Lord Shiva. So Lord Chaitanya seemed to go along with that tradition, but then suddenly reversed course. Instead of going west, he changed his directions and started going east, telling his associates, I'm going to Puri, I'm going to Puri. In this way, whether you read Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavat, the whole point is that Lord Chaitanya is showing that the purpose of his sannyas and any real sannyasi is to search for Krishna, to pursue deeper absorption in Krishna. And we can take inspiration from this for any ashram. The purpose of all the ashramas, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, the purpose is to deepen our bhakti. The different ashrams have different styles, but their purpose is the same. How to deepen the attachment for Krishna. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes how while Lord Chaitanya is wandering, he sends a messenger to Navadvip. He sends Chandrasekhar Chandrasekhar Acharya. And when Chandrasekhar Acharya arrives in Navadvip with the message, Lord Chaitanya told him, tell them, I'm wandering in the forest searching for Krishna. Chandrasekhar Acharya went to Navadvip and told all the devotees gathered there, Advaita Acharya, Shachimata, Lord Chaitanya's mother, he's taken sannyas, he's taken sannyas. They all practically died on the spot. Advaita Acharya collapses to the floor. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet he collapses to the floor. Shachimata becomes like a wooden doll, just totally stunned. All the devotees made plans to give up their bodies. No one wanted to live. Just try to appreciate the impact that hit this situation. No one wanted to live anymore. No one felt they had any reason to maintain their bodies. They all wanted to die immediately. Advaita Acharya came up with his strategy. He said, I want to die immediately. I want to give up my body now. But I can't do it during the daytime because no one will let me. I'll wait till night. While devotees were stunned and making plans to give up their bodies, a voice came from the sky that you will see Sri Krishna Chaitanya in a few days. Just wait. So that voice pacified the devotees. Meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya is wandering in ecstasy. He's trying to find Vrindavan, but now he's turned and is heading east instead of west. In his ecstasy of wandering around, he comes upon what he thinks is the Yamuna River. It's actually the Ganga. Nityananda has told the cowherd boys in that area, when he asks you which way to Vrindavan, you tell him this way, but point to the direction away from Vrindavan, away from where the Yamuna is, point to the direction of the Ganga. In other words, we want to get him back to eastern Bengal. So Lord Chaitanya is wandering around in ecstasy. He sees cowherd boys. The cowherd boys are chanting, Hari, Hari. Lord Chaitanya is so happy to hear the holy name. Which way do I go to the Jamuna? I want to go to Vrindavan. This way, this is the way. That was Nityananda's conspiracy. Because Nityananda had a plan that Lord Chaitanya would go back to where the devotees lived in Navadvip, Shantipur area, and they would all meet at the house of Advaita Acharya in Shantipur. So Lord Chaitanya is walking in ecstasy. And he asks Nityananda, what are you doing here in Vrindavan? Lord Chaitanya says, aren't we in Vrindavan? And Nityananda replied, look, just there, right before you, is the Jamuna River. Actually, it was the Ganga. Lord Chaitanya immediately jumps in the river and begins to recite prayers glorifying the Yamuna. It's actually the Ganga. Then, as per Nityananda's arrangement, Lord Chaitanya sees Advaita Acharya coming in a boat. Now Lord Chaitanya, although still lost in ecstasy, is becoming a little skeptical. He asks Advaita Acharya, what are you doing in Vrindavan? Because everyone knows Advaita Acharya lives in Shantipur, lives near the Ganga. Aren't I in Vrindavan? What was Advaita Acharya's response? He said, wherever you are, that's Vrindavan. And then Lord Chaitanya comes out of his ecstasy and realizes what's going on. Nityananda has cheated me. But Advaita Acharya pointed out, not exactly. At the part of the Ganga where you're bathing, there is a mixture of water coming from the Jamuna River. So actually, Nityananda was telling the truth, because at this particular spot, both rivers have combined. Anyway, Advaita Acharya told him, why don't you come to my house? You haven't eaten for so many days. Come to my house. There'll be very simple vegetables served. There'll be a palmful of rice we'll offer you. Very simple boiled vegetables. That'll be it. He knew how to lure Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya had a side of him in which he wanted to display very rigidly the principles, the austerities of a sannyasi. But his associates didn't like that. Like, no, he's a Supreme Personality of Godhead. What does he have to renounce? Everything is his. But Lord Chaitanya wanted to set the standard of what a rigid performance of the sannyasa ashram is like. So Advaita Acharya had to lure him by saying, please come for lunch at my house. We'll be serving only a very simple prasad. When Lord Chaitanya got to the house of Advaita Acharya and it's time to take prasad, there was such a huge quantity of preparations. Lord Chaitanya hesitated. No, I cannot eat this. It's not the duty of a sannyasi to eat so much, and it's not my duty to leave remnants. I can't do it. Advaita told him, give up your tricks. Every day I know what you eat as Jagannath. How many offerings? 52? Huh? You eat 56 times a day. Huge quantities of food. Just take this little bit that I'm offering to you, and please stop making protests. So what does this tell you about the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Sri Krishna Chaitanya? Lost in ecstasy, doesn't know where he is, wants to limit his eating, but Advaita Acharya points out, you eat 56 times a day, immense quantities of food in Puri. What does this tell you? So any questions? About any aspect of Lord Chaitanya, the tattva, the science of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Leela, and also our application of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya in our life. We'll save time for some questions. Yes, Savyasaji Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I just want to confirm my understanding, please explain, is that because Chaitanya had taken sannyas and they were thinking he had taken the Mayavad sannyas, is that, and it was so rigid that they would never see him as a Mayavad sannyas, that the devotees wanted to leave their bodies, or they were not happy that he's dedicating himself to serving Krishna or looking for Krishna?
He had the most beautiful hair. He was the beloved of Navadvip. Navadvip Chandra, he was the moon of Navadvip. He had the most affectionate mother in the universe, and the most beautiful, affectionate wife. And all the devotees in Navadvip knew that when someone takes sannyas, they don't stick around at home. And Navadvip is home. So they were afflicted severely by the fact that Nimai Pandit was no more. He would no longer be in Navadvip. No longer would he be at his mother's house. So therefore, when Lord Chaitanya was at the house of Advaita Acharya, all the devotees from Navadvip came there, including Sachimata. This is the first time that they're seeing him after his taking sannyas with a shaved head. And remember, Sachimata made a proposal because all the devotees, everyone wanted to cook for Lord Chaitanya during the days he stayed at the house of Advaita Acharya. It was a big festival every day. So Sachimata said, please, how often will I ever get to see my son again? Let me cook for him every day. So all the devotees agreed, yes, your desire will take upon our head as what we will do. But when Lord Chaitanya heard that his mother wanted to cook for him every day, he felt quite uncomfortable. And this is not sannyas life. It's not the business of a sannyasi to stay at home or be cooked, have mother cook for him every day. So then Mother Sachi heard that, and she thought about it. She said that not to be able to do these things for my son is great unhappiness. But to hear that he would, Jai Shri Sri Radha Damodar. But to hear that he would be criticized would make me even more unhappy. So if I have to choose between my happiness at being able to do something for him and my unhappiness upon hearing him criticized because I'm doing something for him, what I want to avoid is his being criticized. That would be the major event for me. Unhappiness because he's criticized, more than unhappiness because I can't serve him the way I want to. So then she said, here is the situation. Jagannath Puri and Navadvip are like two rooms in the same house. If he stays in Puri, I'm sure to get news about him because people are always traveling from Puri to Navadvip. I'll get so much news about him. So in that way, we can solve the situation. He won't be at home, but he will be at home. So that was Puri, the Puri solution. And Lord Chaitanya agreed to that. So again, the distress, the disaster in Navadvip upon hearing the news is that it means he's no longer in Navadvip. His beautiful hair is gone. What does he have to renounce? Why does he have to renounce? the affection of the devotees. What will become of it? Therefore, everyone collapsed as soon as they heard the news. They practically dropped dead on the floor. And they all made plans to give up their bodies. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for the nice kirtan. And my question is, Maharaj, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent last 6 years in Puri in a room, right? So he was in intense separation from Krishna. He was feeling intense separation from Krishna. So how do we understand that one in the spreading of the Sankirtan movement?
He is demonstrating the taste of the highest Sankirtan, which is glorifying separation from Krishna. He's demonstrating love of Krishna in separation. That is even higher than meeting Krishna. He's showing you the peak, the zenith of the whole bhakti experience. We all think meeting Krishna would be the highest, but Lord Chaitanya is showing that separation from Krishna is the highest. His followers are glorifying Krishna. They're talking about Krishna's activities, Krishna's qualities. Sankirtan means congregational glorification. So in those last 6 years, with his most intimate associates, he was glorifying Krishna, glorifying love of Krishna. That's Prem Sankirtan. And when he would go to the temple at Jagannath Puri, he would do another kind of Sankirtan. He would do public Sankirtan. But this was private Sankirtan, congregational glorification. He would recite verses in the mood of Srimati Radharani in separation from Krishna, in the intimate association of his closest devotees. So Lord Chaitanya has demonstrated public Sankirtan and private Sankirtan. You know that there is mention of Lord Chaitanya in the British histories of Orissa. He is there in the historical record, the mundane historical record. But here's what one British historian wrote, that there was this great social reformer who campaigned for equal rights for everyone. And then suddenly he lost the plot. He became mad. That's what it seemed like to the mundane historians. They appreciated Lord Chaitanya's universalist program of giving Krishna to everyone, whether you're Haridas Thakur or Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, whether you're born in a Muslim family or the greatest Vedic scholar in India. Lord Chaitanya accepted everyone. So the British historians could appreciate that. But then, the last phase of Lord Chaitanya's appearance in this world, obviously no mundane historian can understand. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. It's interesting. I was going to ask to comment on the historical Chaitanya as opposed to the Chaitanya in the world of academia, and you just touched upon it there. I'm wondering if you can expand on that more, and on what do they base their writings, their perspective?
Obviously, there are some historical records. There's no doubt historically that there was someone, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. There's no doubt. There's no controversy about that. Even to India, you'll find that those persons who know about Lord Chaitanya, they accept him as a great saint, but they don't understand he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why there's so much confusion about Krishna in India, because Krishna is very difficult to understand in the age of Kali without going through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvata. Out of thousands of persons trying for perfection, very few achieve perfection. And of those very few who've actually achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So then, Srila Prabhupada would always explain this. Kaschin mam veti tattvata. Only one knows me in truth. How do we get into that category of being able to know Krishna in truth? Our lives were not, for most of us anyway, weren't one of striving for spiritual perfection, even attaining spiritual perfection. Yet, kaschin mam veti tattvata. How did we get in the category of having the chance to know Krishna in truth? It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So again, there's so much confusion in India about Krishna because of not trying to approach Krishna through Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So today in India, you'll find many persons don't know about Lord Chaitanya, or those that do say, oh, he was a Bengali saint. Those Bengalis, they have their saints. We have our own saints. And therefore, Krishna, there's so much Krishna confusion. Who is Krishna? Oh, he's the Hindu forest love god. He cheated in the battle of Kurukshetra. Other questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So you explained that how after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he gave up the kamandalu and water pot, saying that it's external. Like
he just tossed it away.
Tossed it away. But on the other hand, we can say that why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take sannyas? Because he also said that naham vipro na channa prati, that it's not, the varna is again external. It's not so.
But he wanted to rescue the externalists. Because this was 500 or more years ago, there was great respect for sannyasis, and people would automatically offer their respects, offer their obeisances. So in that way, Lord Chaitanya could reach persons who normally he could not reach. All kinds of impersonalists, blasphemers, lowest of the student community, Chaitanya Charitamrita says. All these kinds of persons who would normally escape the mercy, Lord Chaitanya wanted to reach them also. So he knew that if he took up the externalities of sannyas, these persons who normally would ignore him, they would be properly respectful and would benefit in that way. So it was his external preaching strategy. So therefore, he carried the staff. And when he was approaching Puri, what happened? He wanted to visit a particular temple, so he gave his danda to Nityananda. Please take care of this. And what did Nityananda do? He broke it into 3 pieces and threw it in the river. So, a bit further on the way to Puri, Lord Chaitanya asked, Nityananda, where's my danda? And what was Nityananda's response? Oh, you were in ecstasy and you fell upon me, I caught you, and the weight of both of us broke the danda. What was Nityananda thinking? He was thinking, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's automatically a Paramahansa. Topmost spiritual order. Why does he need to carry a danda? So he threw it away. But Lord Chaitanya wanted to rigidly demonstrate the externals of sannyas. Therefore, he wanted to carry his danda. But Nityananda said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What do you need with these external symbols of renunciation of sannyas? There was always this loving tension between Mahaprabhu and his followers, his associates. Lord Chaitanya wanted to strictly follow the principles of sannyas behavior, and his associates didn't want him to do that. So there's always this tension, loving tension. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for an amazing class on Lord Chaitanya. Are we as sadhakas, or as a sadhaka myself, am I supposed to try to develop love and separation for Krishna? And if so, how do we do that?
You try to carry out the order of your spiritual master in parampara, and everything will develop from that. You're reading, and you can long for these symptoms of separation from Krishna to develop, just like Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharir. When will that day happen when tears shoot from my eyes and my voice chokes up when I chant Hare Krishna? It's legitimate to long for that, but it's illegitimate to imitate that. You see the difference? Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur has his song, when will that day be mine? When I'm chanting Hare Krishna in ecstasy. You can long for that, but you can't imitate it. There are 2 stages in chanting Hare Krishna, the therapeutic stage and the relishing stage. So don't confuse the therapeutic stage with the relishing stage. Take your therapy and then the relishing will come. But even in the therapeutic stage, there's such sweetness. Still, we should know that we're in the recovery stage. Yet we can long for the relishing stage. When will that day be mine? Okay? Yes.
We often hear that these holy dhams, like Navadvip Dham and Vrindavan Dham, Yoga Pit, Vrindavan, that we should know that these 2 dhams are one. Can you elaborate more on this, actually?
Which Dhams are one?
Navadvip Dham, like Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, and Vrindavan Dham, like
Oh. Navadvip Dham is Gupta Vraj, hidden Vrindavan, as certified by Narottam Das Thakur. What more can one say? Gupta Vraj, hidden Vrindavan. Therefore, you can read in the book by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in which he describes how all the holy places of Vrindavan are there in Navadvip. So to actually live in Navadvip Dham means you're living in Vrindavan. We can aspire for that realization.
How about the vice versa? You stay in Vrindavan.
Mayapur, Navadvip Dham is more merciful. Vrindavan is very strict. Offenses there, mistakes in bhakti there have a very severe reaction. But Navadvip Dham is much more merciful. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, in the past time we heard that Nityanand Prabhu threw the danda and thinking that Mahaprabhu doesn't need that.
Right.
And Advaita Acharya is calling him home, telling that I have some boiled vegetables, but
Yes.
there's a feast. But they are eternal associate of Krishna and Mahaprabhu, and they understand. But I didn't get their mood that why are they doing that, because if they are serving Mahaprabhu, they should serve as Mahaprabhu wants, right?
Now this is Leela. They're relishing these pastimes. Nityananda's having a great time.
Anything, it's Leela.
Yes, that's right. Advaita Acharya, Nityananda, they're the supreme personalities of Godhead. What about when they sit down, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they sit down for this huge feast that Advaita Acharya has prepared. Lord Chaitanya says, this is too much. It's not proper for a sannyasi to eat all this. What does Nityananda say? Look at this tiny quantity of food. I've been fasting for 3 days. I had hoped to eat satisfactorily. What is here is not enough to even fill half my belly. The fast is continuing, obviously. It's Leela. These are pastimes. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, very nice class. Maharaj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote the Sikshastakam prayers,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
wrote the Sikshastakam prayers.
spoke the Sikshastakam prayers,
Yeah.
yes.
So basically Sikshastakam is for the 8 verses. So now on the other hand, Krishna spoke about 700 verses to Arjuna. So now in the age of Kali, therefore the 8 verses of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most that we need to follow, stick to it. I'm trying to relate to what the Bhagavad Gita as well and the Shikshastakam prayers. So how do we is that the essence of those 700 verses, or how does we understand the significance of that one?
Of the Shikshastakam in relation to Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
In Bhagavad Gita, the last word is surrender to me. That is the ultimate instruction in Bhagavad Gita. Surrender to me. So the Shikshastakam prayers teach how to surrender to Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna and pure devotional service. Lord Chaitanya is showing us, because there could be some doubt how to surrender to Krishna. Krishna says, surrender to me. But you see that so many are confused about that. So Lord Chaitanya is Krishna coming to demonstrate how to surrender to Krishna. And therefore you have the Shikshastakam prayers, which describe how to surrender to Krishna.
Maharaj, in relation to Prabhu's question, I was actually thinking of the point how in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually stresses the importance of Arjun, you're a Kshatriya, hence it's your duty to fight. Like the point about, this is your Varna, hence you should function in your Varna, but at the same time you think about me. But when you see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, it appears that he kind of rejected Varna and Ashrama. Is that because in Kali Yuga the Varna and Ashrama is not so defined, or is my understanding not right?
But at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, abandon all other conceptions of Dharma and just do what I say, because I say it. So Bhagavad Gita proceeds on 2 distinct levels at once. There's the Varna level. Arjuna, think about it, you're a Kshatriya. Happy are those Kshatriyas when such a fighting opportunity comes. But that's not Krishna's ultimate angle. His ultimate angle is, look, I want this battle. You do what I say. You're doing what I say is the ultimate instruction. But still, on a lower level, Krishna is saying, think about your Varna. For one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. What will your enemies say about you? Think about your fame. Think about your reputation. So as Srila Prabhupada said, even if we think there's some competing instructions given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, you take the last thing Krishna says. And the last thing he says is, abandon all of your conceptions of Dharma and just do what I say. I'll take care of any reactions, don't worry. And as you know, when in his last months with us, Srila Prabhupada was discussing Varnashram Dharma, devotees brought up the point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it doesn't matter, just your Gopi Bhartu Padakamaleo Dasa Dasnu Dasa, you're just servant of Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. You're not this Varna, you're not that ashrama. So devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, why then why are you saying we have a need for Varnashram Dharma? Didn't Lord Chaitanya say that we're beyond all that? What was Prabhupada's response? Lord Chaitanya, he's from the spiritual world. We are different. We want to help others. In other words, we want to give people a preliminary foundation in which they can properly approach bhakti. Otherwise, people are having difficulty just chanting 16 rounds But Prabhupada was looking at the whole world and seeing that the lifestyles of the current social situation, the current so-called civilization, the lifestyles are anti-bhakti. Therefore, how to make a sane social setting so that people can more easily practice their bhakti. Just like we were talking yesterday about how the pressures of the working world are becoming so intense. So Srila Prabhupada was looking ahead and seeing that we need to provide a better way of life because not everyone's immediately transcending. Yes, just chant Hare Krishna Prabhu. That will solve all problems. But how many of us are chanting with the proper intensity? It's true, chanting Hare Krishna solves everything. If someone tells you that, they're telling you the exact truth. But how many devotees are chanting with the intensity, with the proper intensity? No, we're chanting while driving, we're chanting while watching TV, we're chanting while talking. So it's true that simply by the tongue touching the holy name, all problems are solved. But we don't see every devotee chanting with the required intensity. Therefore, out of mercy, the acharyas say, let's have a social system that holds people in place, gives them some stability while they're advancing and chanting Hare Krishna. And what social system is better than Krishna's social system? So Varnashram Dharma is material, but it's Krishna's material system. Because it's material, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's purely thinking of the spiritual world, rejected it. But in applying the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, the acharyas are thinking how to properly ground persons, how to give them a foundation while these persons are chanting Hare Krishna and trying to chant with attention. They're bringing so many past influences into their bhakti. They're influenced by so many material situations. So many winds are blowing in their life. How to give them a proper social setting so that they can advance in chanting Hare Krishna. So when you want a proper social setting, who do you turn to? A conditioned soul, or you take it from the Shastra? The Shastra says Varnashram Dharma. And it's not just Srila Prabhupada who pointed to Varnashram Dharma. It was Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave that mission to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who passed it on to his disciples. So although it seems so inconceivable how to apply Varnashram Dharma, it is our inheritance through parampara. And Srila Prabhupada never let us push it aside and dismiss it. Every few years he would bring it up again and again. In fact, in 1977, he told devotees, the time is more ripe now than when I first brought this up 4 years ago. But it is a very deep subject and one that devotees have many opinions about, as you probably know. But what can we do? We can't throw away our family inheritance. We have to deal with it. Last question?
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, I just want to understand Lord's renunciation that he did, showing to the world. Based on past understanding, we understand that if Lord renounces something or somebody, that thing or the person is doomed, because Lord has given up on that. So when the Lord showed or did the renunciation as part of his Leela, was that impacted or impacting anything? What was his renunciation? I don't know if I'm putting my question the right way. You know, when they say that if Lord gives up on you, you are done. You know, there is nothing that can save you, because Lord has given up on you. Lord has renounced you.
But Lord Chaitanya did not renounce his associates. They feared that. That's why they collapsed on the floor and wanted to die. They feared that, but it never happened. And he met with them all at the house of Advaita Acharya. And his associates would come every year to visit him at Jagannath Puri. They make an annual trip from Navadvip at Ratha Yatra time in Puri, but not his mother. All right, thank you very much.